Welcome to another sellmycomicbooks.com vintage comic book unboxing. I am Ashley Cotter-Cairns, editor and owner of sellmycomicbooks.com, and I'm here to give you excuses. Excuse number one is we haven't done many comic book unboxings lately. And the reason that we haven't done many comic book unboxings lately is that Sean and his team are absolutely slammed. We've had a fantastic year so far. We've bought more comics in the first half of this year than we did in the entire 2017. So much so that we have comic books stacked up all over our office so high that we can't actually use the presses anymore. We've run out of space, we need more staff, so we're moving to a bigger office. Sean just needs to get the guys cranking out books on eBay, so we can't do comic book unboxing videos at the office at the moment. The second excuse is that I'm in my bedroom because in the studio downstairs I have bought this enormous collection in Quebec. It cost me $15,000 US, and in the studio downstairs, which is the only place left in my house not covered in comic books, I'm not actually able to take videos in my studio right now because I've just bought a collection for $15,000 US and it's taking up my presentation space. So I'm going to have to take boxes upstairs and film the unboxing up there. But it's been a while since we did a comic book unboxing, and so there's some really exciting stuff here. And not the usual stuff I get excited about, because I'm normally excited about stuff like Silver Age, superhero. There is some of that here, but we're going to start with this box here, which has possibly the rarest books we've ever handled. This comic book unboxing video doesn't feature Sean, Scott and Sean, and it doesn't feature the studio that we spent a lot of time and trouble putting together. So without any further ado, I'm going to unbox the first box of this collection, and this is the box. This is the box. This box has definitely, without question, the most rare collection of comics we've ever handled. You will probably never see these books again. Most dealers on the planet haven't handled this kind of material, and this stuff is super, super rare. So let's get into this box over here, and I can't wait to show you it. Shareholders of Xerox might not agree with me, but this might be the most exciting stuff that's ever been packed into a Xerox box. Let's have a look. What we're looking at here is a collection of the so-called Canadian whites. These are World War II era reprints of American comic books that were only published in Canada between 1942 and 1945, This is Robin Hood Comics. These are kind of books you have to look inside, or you have to have specialist knowledge to find out what the heck it is. I mean, Robin Hood Comics, they're called Canadian whites because the interiors are black and white. There's no colour printing, and the front covers are usually just one colour, like this one. Oh, it's on the back cover. There you go. Volume 2, number 11. That's Robin Hood. Now, this might look to you, I'm just going to see, let me just show this. This might look to you like a piece of crap, but to find these issues in this kind of condition is pretty unusual. They're normally rags. I mean, absolute rags. This is complete. It has quite a lot of dust damage at the top. The staples are dark, but the average grade of this collection, the Canadian whites, is about VG to fine, and that is pretty rare for these. We need to check if it's complete, but so that's Robin Hood Comics. Next, Aces. This is 3 Aces, Volume 2, number 8 from 1943. Again, actually, this is kind of a cool cover because this is more like a superhero. Bullet Man and Bullet Girl there with the flying dog. Makes a Bullet Dog. That maybe it's the first appearance of Bullet Dog. I don't know. I don't know these issues very well. Again, this doesn't look like much, but in this condition, that's a pretty rare book. This is probably a a solid 6.5 or 7. And many of these Canadian whites, the best known copies are like VG, or even in some cases there are only 1 or 2 known copies. And if you look in the Grand Comics database, you might actually see certain issues don't even have a full cover image. They only have like a fragment of a cover image. That's how rare they are. Next, this is a more familiar book for US audience, Captain Marvel Comics, Volume 2, Number 7 from 1943. Again, now this is more typical of Canadian whites. Look how frayed the cover is. These were printed on the absolute cheapest paper available because it was wartime and all available paper was being used. If you look at the back, I mean, that's a bit more typical for a Canadian white. There's pieces missing off the cover's detached, it's torn. That's a fairly typical copy, but you know, it's probably still a 2.0 or a 2.5. You just don't see these. Now, a bit later, I believe this is later, this is like the same publishers started trying to publish colour comic books. This is a colour issue. It is from 1943 though. So now we have some more of these true picture magazines. These are not as popular, and they're printed on better paper stock, and they are, generally speaking, you find them in better condition. They're almost like magazines, really. They're called picture magazines. They are comic books, but they're a little bit bigger than the regular ones. These aren't very valuable. These ones aren't very popular. We've got some more of those. Doesn't mean they're not rare. I mean, it's still from 1943, and these are in pretty nice shape, considering. I'm just trying to see if you can see that. What's next? There's another one. That one's got some price stickers stuck on it. Canadian Pacific Railway new service. That's cool. Price 15 cents. I wonder when they sold that. That's not from 1943, I bet, that sticker. And then another one. Now we get back into the exciting stuff. Robin Hood comics. I can't stress enough how rare these are to find in this kind of condition. This has got a bit of a nasty kind of scuff there. It's almost like a tape pull, a tear. Volume 2, Number 1 from 1943. Probably a solid 5.0. Pretty rare. And I'm flicking through the pages. There are some pages with tears on, but I mean, honestly, for these, that's pretty high grade. Another Robin Hood. This one's got a spine roll and looks like some insect chews or something, or just a tear at the top of the spine, some rust on the staples. Volume 2, Number 2 from 1943. Again, even in this condition, quite a valuable book. This one is even, oh, there's two there, that's why. Again, Robin Hood. Not as popular as the ones with superheroes in, but still quite collectible, especially in this condition. Here's another one. That is Volume 2, Number 5. It's quite a nice run of these Robin Hoods here. And there's another one. Very distinctive, these one colour covers, and the rest of the contents are all black and white. Volume 2, Number 10. Now then, this is going to be more interesting for most people. Freelance Comics. Again, a very rare title. You don't see these very often, especially in decent shape. This is a Nazi cover. Quite basic art. It's very naive style. It is Volume 2, Number 2 from 1943. If I had to spot grade this, although it's got some tears on the spine there, probably grade that a 5.5, something like that. It's got a spine roll, maybe that could be pressed out. But I mean, the corners, look at this. This thing has corners. I mean, that it has corners and edges. That's just so rare. Honestly. Look them up on Grand Comics database. They are always thrashed and dirty and gross. I mean, look at this. Freelance Comics. Got a helicopter Nazi cover. That's very cool. Volume 2, number 5, November 1943, November, December 1943. Probably a solid 6 or 6.5, maybe even a 7.0. You just don't see them like this. This is a cool elephant cover, but it's probably not going to be as popular because it's an elephant cover. It's not quite as popular as submarines and atom bombs and things. Volume 2, number 8, 1944. And this is a later one, it must be because it's got a full colour cover. Freelance Comics number 33, they switched from the volume issue numbering to just a regular issue number. That's a very cool kind of punching an SS officer in the face cover. I wonder what year that is. 1946. This was pretty much the end of the Canadian Whites era. By now, US comics were being published in Canada again, and they couldn't compete. Even though these are full colour comics, they just weren't as popular. But this is still a rare book. I mean, oh my God, you might never see another copy of this. I mean, what grade is that? It's probably a 7.0. There's another title that's very popular, Spy Smasher Comics. See, that's quite typical of Canadian Whites to have an entire corner missing like that. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Now out of the studio, it's hard for me to make these videos like this. But there's an entire corner skimmed off the top front cover. Even so, what's that? Volume 2, number 1, August 1943. It's probably still a 4.5, 5.0. I mean, there's not much else wrong with it, honestly. Might even be a 6. I mean, like, really, for these, that could be a 6. There's no major tears anywhere apart from that corner. Here's another Spy Smasher. It's a shark cover, that's kind of cool. Volume 2, number 7, 1944. Spy Smasher, this one's got a superhero cover. Looks suspiciously like a rip-off of Flash, Captain America. I don't even know the guy with the diamond on his chest, and then there's like Mary Marvel there. Oh, it even tells you who they are at the bottom, duh, sorry. Captain Marvel Jr. This one's a bit more careworn, it's got a big spine split and a spine roll. It's probably still a 3.5, something like that. Spy Smasher, Captain Marvel cover, that's going to be very popular. These just don't turn up in this condition. This is, well, it's got a tear on this bottom staple. The bottom staple's blown actually. It's probably Volume 4, number 8, 1945. It's probably a solid 6.5, 7.0, maybe even a 7.5. I mean, there's not much else wrong with it. And it's a Captain Marvel issue, so it's going to be very popular. And Whiz Spy Smasher, as soon as sometime in the run they changed the name to Whiz Spy Smasher. This is another Captain Marvel cover from 1945. If I had to grade that, it's got a bit of a blunted, well, there's a bit of a crease on the corner. Oh, there's a big tear. Even with that tear though, I'd say it's a 5.0 at least. These are pretty hard to see in this condition. What's next? Aces, 3 Aces Comics, Bullet Girl on the front cover, very popular. And a Bullet Man cover, Bullet Man versus Gorilla cover, that's kind of cool. Both of these are probably 7.0. Maybe even nicer. I mean, honestly, there's nothing wrong with these. A bit of dust shadowing on one of them. This is Three Aces again. It's got a Western cover, that's not going to be as popular as the Bullet Man covers, and it's got a blown staple. Another one of the ones where they changed the title again, Freelance Robin Hood. And it's got a colour cover and colour interior, so it's going to be later. Yeah, it's 1945. By now they were starting to lose sales and they were doing whatever they could to try and rescue their audience. But by then, I guess, kids in Canada were buying US comics again. Freelance Robin Hood, going back to the one colour cover. It's kind of like a blowing up a train cover, that's kind of cool. And then here we have Grand Slam Comics. This is Grand Slam. I look on the back and tell you which one. It's got a dust shadow. It's Grand Slam Volume 2, number 12 from 1943. Grand Slam's got a dust shadow. It's got a little bit of wear at the bottom staple. It's got a tiny spine split at the bottom. I'd still give that a 7 all day long. That is, or maybe a 7.5. That is spectacular for these. What's this? Grand Slam Comics with like a Buddha on the front cover. That's kind of cool. Another Captain Marvel cover. Volume 3, number 3 from 1944. Dig a bit deeper in the box now. This is Grand Slam Volume 4, number 4. Another Captain Marvel cover, is it? Who's that? Maybe not. There's a whole bunch of people on there. Another Grand Slam. Captain Marvel Jr. cover. Volume 2, number 6, 1943. Grand Slam, Captain Marvel Jr. Doesn't say on the back what it is. Inside back cover, Volume 2, number 9, August 1943. You've probably never seen another one of those. This is the last of our run of Grand Slam. This is another Captain Marvel Jr. cover. It's a bit worse for wear. This one's got some corner issues. Still, Volume 2, number 11, October 43. I think maybe there's some loose pages in the centre as well. I'm not going to go and dig too deeply. But still, that's not a bad copy of this. And now we're switching over to Whiz. I'm going to try moving this box so you can maybe see the colours better. Let's have a look. Is that easier? So I'm trying to do this all on my phone while I'm holding them up. It's not easy. I'm going to try moving the camera a bit again. I hope you'll be kind to my earlier filming mistakes. I think holding them up in front of the box was a mistake, but now we can see them a lot better. This is Canadian White's Whiz comic with Shazam, aka Captain Marvel, on the front cover. I know I've done this before. Volume 3, number 5, 1944. I know I've said this before. This has got a big tear on the back cover, but I mean, even with the tear on the back cover, that might get a 5.5 or a 6. It's just, it's got corners. Like, these books don't have corners normally. They're just dry and fragile. This is really nice. The pages are supple. I just want you to see this. I mean, it has slightly browned corners and edges. This is a white. These are white pages. This is just pretty rare to see these books like this. They're on all kinds of order now because they got mixed up. Bing Bang Comics with a classic goat spraying milk in the face of a kid. This one's a very cool and expensive book, and this is unfortunately one of the ones that's most damaged. Rocket Comics with a classic robot cover. It's fantastic. I would frame that cover and put it on the wall. It's beautiful. Unfortunately, the bottom 10 or 15% of the cover is missing completely. I don't know if you can see that. It's all torn off. And there's some spine splitting. I'd say it's probably a 1, a 1.0, a 1.5 maybe on a good day. But the colours on that cover are really awesome. I love it. Very popular issue. Super Comics. That's a very odd looking Archie / fish character with the shield on the front. That's an MLJ reprint, I guess. It's got black and white interior, as you'd expect. No ad on the inside cover, which is weird. And can we see? I don't know where the indicia is in this book. First story is the shield. No, there's an ad on the back. I can't tell you which issue this is. It doesn't seem to have fine print in the front or the back. Still, I've never seen one of those before. Another copy of Bing Bang Comics with a... So can you see that? It's a spanking cover. That, I bet you that does really well when it sells. That whole like bondage / corporal punishment stuff does really well. It's a strange market, but I don't know what issue that is. Oh my god, that fine print is so small. 1942. Volume 1 number... God, I can't even read that. Could be number 8, but I'd have to get a magnifying glass. It's literally 6-point printing. It's really tiny. That is a great cover though. That is a really great cover. And it has got a spine split. It's probably still a 4.0. Nazi submarine cover. Even has a shark in it. Rocket Comics. 1943. September, October 1943. Another wartime cover. Rocket Comics, March to April. Don't know what year. Probably about the same. This is a cool cover. It's got multiple colours on it. Commando Comics, number 17. He's releasing a dove. Like he's carrying a box with a dove in it just in case he needs to release it to declare peace broke out. Because that's what they did. They carried doves around just in case. And he thought war was always harsh. Wow Comics, the Penguin. Not that penguin. A different penguin. This is not Oswald Cobblepot. This is someone who dresses up as a penguin. I don't know why these fail to catch on with kids. I really don't. What is this? There's a copyright notice. It doesn't say what issue it is. Still, that's a pretty funny cover. The Funny Comics with Dizzy Don. That's a very colourful cover. It's a very cool villain called Ratface with a huge nose and he, yeah, I think he looks like a rat. He looks like a penguin. you have to pick a character, I'd say he's more like a penguin than a rat. Active Comics number 19. It looks like it's got a detached centerfold or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Again, it's Canadian white, it's ancient, published in the 40s by Bell Features and Publishing Company Limited. A hockey cover, which would have been popular in Canada. This is Active Comics number 20. This is probably a 6.5 or a 7. Triumph Comics number 14. Another very cool cover with a, I don't know, is he a bad guy or a good guy, the guy with the knife? I can't even tell who's the villain and who's the hero here. Speed Savage in new thriller, The Bite of the Black Raven. So I guess the guy with the knife is the Black Raven and the guy with the gun is Speed Savage. Alright. Again, it doesn't say which issue number or what year. This is one I've never even heard of. Weekender. Illustrated News Review Comics. Commando Comics number 2. It's got some staining on the cover, but it's complete and it looks awesome. Nazi being bayoneted, it looks like. That's a pretty violent cover. Commando number 16. An officer punching a Japanese in the face while a Japanese plane gets shot down by a very unlikely looking aircraft. What year this is? This is Better Comics from August, September 1943. Better Comics, October, November. Rags the Dog Marvel, I guess he's the hero of this comic. Crime fighting dogs are never unpopular. Better Comics from 1944 to 1945, that's a long run. I guess this was on the shelf for 2 years. Another copy of Better Comics. And Better Comics again with a Western theme. Lucky Comics. This one's got a damage to the top front corner, but that will press out. Here's a Grand Slam. There's another Lucky Comics with a kid kicking over some Nazi officers having a big feast, kicking their food at them. Horror cover on this issue, Lucky Comics. You see that? Sort of like quite a horrific looking cover. This is more like the pre-code horror covers with a dead woman lying in the water and horrified teens discovering her. That's pretty disturbing. Cool ad on the back cover. War savings bonds with a big hand grenade. That's pretty cool. And when I said that these issues are generally in better condition than most of these, this is a bit more typical. If you see the bottom right of this book, the cover is all folded up and shredded a little bit. There's some tears and stuff, and it's got brittle pages or partly brittle pages where the corners are all flaked off. This is how they normally turn up. In fact, the rest of the cover would be affected too, and it wouldn't be surprising to see more of it missing. And this is one of the later ones, so I'm happy to see this is one of the ones that's in the worst shape. Pretty cool cover though. If that was an Archie cover, you'd be saying, wow, look at that, it's a classic pin-up girl type cover. Now we're into Joke Comics, Spike and Mike. Joke Comics, very weird. He looks a little bit like Quagmire from Family Guy, the guy with a green face there. Back into the more traditional war type comics, Active Comics number 11. I've seen Active Comics turn up for sale and they never look like this. This has got sharp edges, man. This is just, you can't, like, I'm just shocked at how nice this is. That has sharp edges. The corners are razor sharp. It's got a bit of dust damage here and there, but honestly, this might be a 9.0. There's literally not a thing wrong with the cover. Honestly, it's beautiful. That could be the single highest grade of Active Comics number 11 by the time it comes back. Grand Slam, another superhero type cover. Superhero versus Nazis. That's going to do really, really well when it sells. A Western cover, Grand Slam Aces. It's not going to be as popular. Another Western cover. This is one of the ones with the later issues with colour covers. They've already got thinner because they couldn't afford to put so many pages in because they weren't selling as many. Atom Bomb cover, Grand Slam, number 52. This is a full colour cover, which means the contents are probably colour, yep. This is already the era when these books were starting to fail. This is Canadian Heroes. A later edition of Better Comics. Oh no, it's not later. It just looks later because it's colour. That's 1942. Look at that. It's got Rags, the dog Marvel on it. 1942. It's got a tear on the back. A little piece missing. Jeez, that's so nice. These are so nice. This is more famous for American audience. Whiz Comics. A very unusual cover because you don't get these covers on the American ones. This is a recovered black and white reprint. Volume 3, number 7 from July 44. Cool Shazam cover. This is a very famous Whiz cover. Flying towards a submarine, Captain Marvel there. That's a very popular issue for these. And it's got some dust shadowing. Blimey. It's got a little bindery tear at the top, honestly. Like, that could be an 8.0. That is spectacular. Whiz Spy Smasher, this one's got more damage. This is, again, I was talking earlier about how these things typically have a lot of damage on them. Well, you can see the top of the spine there, and then the bottom corner is flaking. That's the paper is such poor quality that these normally turn up like this. Like the whole cover is usually affected in this way. Little pieces flaking off the corners where the pages got brittle because they're printed on the cheapest possible paper. This is from 1945. The later ones seem to be worse. And what's the odds of that? Here's another great issue, Whiz Comics. 1942, Volume 1, Number 9. It's got a bad spine roll, but there's not much we can do about that because I think the top staple's detached, the bottom one's just hanging on, and this is not as nice. It's got a spine split. It's still probably a VG though. Colours are nice on the cover. Whew. I think this is an early one as well. Captain Marvel and the Marvel Exterminator. Whiz Comics, Volume 1, Number 10. Yeah, there you go. This one's got a spine roll, but the staples look good and there's no major damage to the spine, though. It has got some insect chews on the top corner. It's still probably a VG to fine. Shazam cover. Volume 2, Number 3. Captain Marvel meeting himself 1,000 years in the future. That's pretty cool. What issue is this? Whiz Comics. Doesn't say which issue. I'd have to look this up. Oh no, here it is. Volume 2, Number 8, 1943. This one's got some damage on the top. This is another Whiz Comics, December 1943. Still probably 3.0, 3.5. There's one more book I want to show you in this video, but I'm going to reposition the camera because this is special. Now, I told you at the beginning of this video that there was something in this box that's just incredibly rare. The stuff I've already shown you, that's pretty damn rare stuff, man, especially in this condition. The average grade of this is sort of 5.0 to 6.0. That I can't even begin to stress how scarce that is. But what I'm about to show you, unfortunately, it's not quite as nice as that. It's probably a 3.5, maybe a 4 on a really good day. But there's less than 10 copies of this book known in the world. There are 10 times as many or more copies of Action Number 1. So, are you ready? Fans of Canadian Whites are going to know exactly what this is. This is, trying to do this without moving the camera again, Super Comics. It's not numbered, it's just called Super Comics. And this is the Canadian Whites reprint of Pep 22, which most of you probably know is the first appearance of Archie. It has a bit of damage on the spine. There's a piece of spine kind of dangling off. I don't know if we're going to remove that or not, but there's a spine split at the bottom, about 1 inch, maybe a little bit less. But the colours are spectacular. This book has sharp edges for these. I mean, it's not super sharp, but when that's been pressed, they'll be sharper. And somewhere in this book is the first ever appearance of Archie. It has probably off-white white pages. It is, I mean, the first appearance of Archie. Can you imagine? I'm probably one of only a couple of hundred people alive that's read an actual real copy, not a reprint or whatever, of the first ever appearance of Archie. And boy, Archie's changed over the years. This is there are times when I'm obviously I'm in this for the money, like I'm a comic book dealer and stuff, but there are times when I feel genuinely humbled by holding something that's so rare and so special. I'm just going to try and show you. First appearance of Archie. There it is. I'm going to take some pictures of this some of the interior pictures of the Archie story. But I mean, it doesn't get much more special than this. This is the Action 1 of Canadian Whites. This is the one that everybody wants, and I'm holding it right now. Pretty special. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and please check us out on the web at www.sellmycomicbooks.com. I'm Ashley Cotter Cairns. Bye for now.